You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
And now, it's time for the show that breaks down the options market from unusual activity alerts to market analysis, strategy overviews, listener questions, and much more. If it involves puts and calls, then our all-star panel will break it down. It's time to hit the Option Block with your host, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Media Group, and co-hosts, Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, along with Andrew the Rock Lobster Giovinazzi from OptionFit.com. Old trading walks into a bar. New trading raises it. That's Tasty Trade. Keep focused with news feeds that matter. See opportunity differently in analysis mode. Chart your heart out with over 300 indicators. Plus, you can get low pricing, lots of education, and a support team that really gets how traders trade. It's no wonder Investopedia named Tasty Trade the best broker for options in 2024. Genius loves company. Go to tastytrade.com/podcasts and see for yourself. Tasty Trade Incorporated is a registered broker-dealer and member of FINRA, NFA, and SIPC. And now, get ready to hit the Option Block.
All right, everybody. That music means we are back. It is another manic Monday here in the markets. Should be a fun one. The bond folks are off because, hey, they get a day off when it's a cloudy day. But you know what? The rest of the market's got to come to play today, and we're coming to play as well. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com, as well as from the network that all of you folks are binging on these days. Just a quick reminder at the top of the show, make sure you subscribe to the full network. Otherwise, man, you are missing out. I will just leave it there. And speaking of missing out, if you want some good goodies, you want to win some fun things, you want to get exclusive shows, you want to get early access to other shows, you want to get live streams, all kinds of stuff, you want to play fantasy football, maybe you too can take your turn beating up on Uncle Mike's crypto-loving squad the way I am doing this week. TheOptionsInsider.com/pro is the place to go. As we go around the horn and introduce everyone ahead of time, the aforementioned Uncle Mike can't get enough crypto, which is why he named his squad the Crypto-Loving Squad. And they are getting taken to the woodshed out there this week. So we shall see. It's not over. He might mount an impressive comeback. But right now, not looking good for the crypto lovers. And also joining us, the guy who should play fantasy football because he doesn't watch football, which means he'd be the most fun to play with, a.k.a. the Rock Lobster, Mr. Andrew Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. I get them all ready and set because I have in my hot little hands, listeners, the previously selected 80s Trivia Challenge card. Here we go. All right, here we go. Time to guess some trivia with some unlicensed, just generic trivia music underneath that, not accompanying, not relevant to anything. All right, Mr. Uncle Mike, sir. Not only are you the biggest loser in fantasy football right now, you are the biggest loser in our trivia challenge, which means you get to go first. You get to pick. What category are we going for today? And yes, I did check the card. There is no wrist wrestling.
Oh, well, as much as I like to do history of wrist wrestling, man, you guys are just beating me down this year. I'm getting it from all angles here. I'm glad, I never talked this much trash when I was winning, did I?
You talked a bit.
A little bit. You might have lorded those belt buckles over us here and there.
You are quick to say Andrew should lose a point whenever he doesn't open his mouth or mutes himself.
Yeah. He should lose a point. But anyway, let's go with sports and leisure.
All right, back on the horse. Let's see who emerges victorious this week. The Rock Lobster scoring a point last. Oh, what was it? It was the Organization of American States last week.
OAS, I believe.
Rock Lobster got the acronym. All right, here we go.
Oh, what's the subject?
Sports and leisure. So we're going back to
sports,
orange.
okay,
all right, here we go. Oh, this is interesting. How many rooms are there on a Clue game board?
Buzz.
Oh, wow. Rock Lobster already in. Go for it.
10.
Ooh, interesting. Not correct, but interesting guess. Mr. Uncle Mike, can you steal?
9.
Yes!
Yeah, there you go.
Yes!
Ah.
Uncle Mike back on the board.
Hold on, what's the total though? Just to remind me of what's going on.
It says 9 here, so yeah. I was thinking at first. I was thinking of all the individual spaces as well. I was like, well, there's a ton because you have to navigate to the boardroom. But then they think they mean just the actual rooms, which they clearly do 9.
Yeah.
So how is this sports and leisure?
It's leisure. You're playing Clue in your leisure time.
Game. It's a game. It's a leisure game.
All right.
But now, what's the total? I want to know. Like in the playoffs, when you lock in the win. I want to know what month I have to get to lock in my victory.
You might be there now.
You might be close. I'll have to have them crunch the number. I know you're ahead by a substantial margin. You got 1 point last week. He got 1 point this week, so it's still kind of a push. So I don't think he's really stolen any ground on you. But last I remember checking, you were at least, I think, 3 to 4 points ahead. I will go check to make sure, and we'll have
3 to 4 is not very much.
We will have the official number for you next week. How is that?
But I can't lock him out until like the first week of December. I want this over.
You want it over by like Halloween. All right.
Yeah.
Well, hold on though. Longo gave you like double points this time of year the last few years.
Did I?
So like he upped the points because he wanted to keep it fair. He said.
Because we're doing 80s trivia wrestling.
Well, yeah, he was getting smoked. It was like he was losing by like 10 points.
Like nobody in the world but you two knows anything about 80s.
That is not true.
Like
just because you're so lowbrow and unsophisticated with low wrestling knowledge, you're uncultured and unsophisticated if you don't know 80s wrestling trivia.
Yeah, well, I guess so. However, I must have missed that in the 80s. I remember a lot from the 80s. I don't think I was much of a wrestling.
Yeah, I think in that one, he was definitely one hand behind his back. So if I did allocate him some boosts, I think it was just to make it competitive and fun for the audience. Now we got ourselves a bit of a fight, so we shall see. As we keep on rolling, listeners, did you get that one? Did you know 9, listeners? Or did you get thrown off by the spaces and the rooms? It's an interesting question as we keep on rolling right on into the trading block.
It's time to break down the latest topics, trades, and trends in the world of options. It's time for the trading block.
All right, everybody, welcome to the trading block, the portion of the show where we break down what the heck is trading? And surprise, surprise, if you were getting all in gear for some more red on the screen. Nope, we're going back the other way. You should have known that was coming. We did warn you on vol views that Dr. VIX, and I did dabble a little bit myself to hedge my UVIX with a little bit of SVIX. And I said it on the show. I said, if he buys the UVIX, and he did right at the close of the show, then that means, of course, vol is going to die on Monday, and that's exactly what's happening. We sell off on a random tweet, listeners. I guess it makes sense that we rally on an equally random tweet from over the weekend because we're coming back in now. S&P up about 100 handles and change, 1.6%. Dow up 1.3%. And NASDAQ up over about 2.11%. So not quite getting back everything that they lost on Friday, but a pretty darn good chunk of it. VIX cash was at 19.25 when we kicked off the show. Still up about 2.5 points. It has continued to drop. It's down to about 19.15 since we started the trivia challenge. So that gives us up about 2.25 points pretty much almost since where we were from last week. So just wild stuff out here. I read an interesting article over the weekend. The headline caught my eye, which was that this is the dumbest market rally in the history of time. And that certainly resonated to me. And the data point they were focusing on was kind of interesting. And that one we talk about a lot here on the show, which is effectively that, and it's the actual date is subjective because how you define these things is subjective, of course. But we surpassed how many active participants there are in the market now versus passive, just riding the index train. And that was surpassed probably about a year ago, a year and change. So we have literal dumb money now that is just following whatever is going on. They just have to buy. And that is the majority of the flows out there in the S&P right now. So it is literally a dumb market. whether you like it or not, the passive crowd has taken over, which is probably not a great thing in the long run out there at the end of the day, just the sheep following along. But I thought that was an interesting data point, not one we talk about a lot here on the show. Obviously, we lean more towards the active here, but c'est la vie, an interesting data point out there for all you bulls to ruminate on. And VVIX at about a 109, up about 12 points from where it was this time last week. So still frosty, still spicy, still kind of reeling from the body blow it got on Friday, and not really willing to relinquish the ghost, at least not yet. Vivek still signaling, you know what? I don't know about any of this, which is probably a good stance to have right now. Who knows about any of this as we go on out to our victor from this week? Don't say that too often. The uncleist of Mikes, Mr. Uncle Mike, do you have any enduring memories of the mighty board game Clue, or perhaps its spin-off movie, which actually is an underrated gem of the 80s. Clue is actually a pretty great movie. And then, of course, what do you have to say for the folks who have been following your travails on fantasy football? Do you have an apology for them? And then C, what's catching your eye in the market, sir?
Yeah, it's not a good fantasy football day for me right now, but you never know. We might have a big night tonight. I think so. I still got one more player left tonight, and maybe I'll have a big Monday night. He'll throw for 600 yards passing, 12 touchdowns. It's possible. Anyway, so in terms of the markets today, yeah, it's up again. And I have to say, on Thursday, I was exhausted and I had a hard time saying my thing about all-time highs with the markets. And I was like, I just need a pullback already. I'm getting exhausted. I'm good now. I'm cool. So I'm cool with the markets making new all-time highs again, and I'm cool to say it again if need be. So for all of my...
Oh, so that was all you needed? Just that little respite on Friday and you're good now?
Yeah, I'm good. We've had the pullback we needed, so we can start going up 20% a year again. I'm cool with that now. So yeah, we're good. So yeah, I mean, right now this is very much a headline-driven market, and that we could have between tariffs to China, government shutdowns. We do not live in boring times, folks. I think that when hundreds of years from now, when all of our stuff is buried and all the archaeologists are digging through all of the media of the years 2010 through 2025, and they dig up all of these option block episodes, they're going to say these were some very unique times that those people lived in. That's for sure. And we're still living in those. The thing I'm noticing today, and first off, Columbus Day is always wacky in that, well, as the stocks are open, but the bonds are not, but yet bond funds are trading. But it's always a very confusing day. I think it was maybe in 15 years ago or something like that, we had like the Dow and S&P go up like 8% on Columbus Day or something. Columbus Day is always a weird day. So that's the first thing that needs to be said. The second thing that needs to be said, or at least from what I'm seeing, lighting up my tape, we're not back to the all-time highs that we were in the S&P today, but we're still very much close to them. We are up 1.5% today in the S&P. But also the thing that needs to be continually watched right now is silver and gold. We're approaching the 2011 all-time highs with silver. We're really, really close right now. So maybe this week we might hit new all-time highs in silver. And so the question then comes up is this just a giant 14-year double top? Or are we going to break out and continue this silver party perpetually, like the market seems to be doing right now? So we'll see on that type of thing. Some names that are sticking out to me today. Qualcomm had a really rough day on Friday. Qualcomm is up 5% on the day today. JP Morgan had a rough day on Friday. It's up 2% on the day today. The big one that's really catching my eye today is that Taiwan Semiconductor got beat up pretty bad on Friday. It is up almost 8% today, up $22. So we do have some stocks that are really pushing this market higher, and the stocks that we seem to need to push this market higher. We're bringing it lower on Friday, but they're pushing it higher today. A couple other names: NVIDIA is up 3% on the day, 188. We have Tesla up roughly 3.5% on the day. So there's some movement out there for sure. And at least for now, everything is awesome again. I am excited about some call put skew action that I actually put into effect on my silver collar. So a 14-year promise, or I'm sorry, maybe roughly a 10-year promise that I gave to Mark Longo about these silver collars that I'm going to be doing. It's going to definitely create lots of content for the show. I'm going to actually pay up on that promise 10 years later today in the strategy block. Ooh. I'm pretty excited about the move that I did on Friday in my silver collar that didn't add any risk, but added a lot of premium based on call put supply and demand, as well as synthetics of options. So I'm very excited about the strategy block today, paying off a 10-year promise to Mr. Longo.
About freaking time is all I'm going to say, sir. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting. By the way, just along those lines, just think about what you just said for a second. We got the S&P rallying 100 plus handles, and you got silver and gold both tilting at new all-time highs yet again. Does that give you any potential pause on your bullish love fest, sir?
It's been paused for about the last month or so. So I started tightening up in the hedged section of the money management that I do, as well as my covered calls are more at the money and in the money than they typically are. And the hedges that on the hedged stuff is typically tighter. So that's been that way for about the last month or so.
All right. I know a guy who's never in a love fest with the market. He's always deeply cynical out there. He is the Rock Lobster. Mr. Rock Lobster, do you have any enduring memories of the 80s board game machine that is Clue, or the spin-off movie with Tim Curry? Actually, a surprisingly good film. If you haven't seen it, I have to probably say definitely the best board game inspired movie ever.
What? There wasn't Michael Caine in that?
He might have been. I know Tim Curry was in it. But yeah, surprisingly good cast, surprisingly good film. One of the first movies, well, not one of the first, one of the early movies to have the multiple endings. You got different endings depending on which theater you went to see it. So there you go, Clue. A little bit of homework for the listeners.
Yes, there was a candlestick. Professor Plum did the murder in the library with the candlestick.
Spoiler for
Don't
Clue.
ruin it for me.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, luckily you might see the other ending, listeners, in which case what Rock Lobster said is a lie.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So don't listen to the Rock Lobster. As far as the market goes, apparently I hear there's peace in the Middle East. I don't even know what that means, to be honest, peace in the Middle East. But there was a hostage swap. These are things that are less, being some stability. So stability generally bullish. Also, you kind of think like, okay, I don't, because Trump is he's very Trumpian. He's like, this shutdown, the market shouldn't be rallying. So I think I'm just gonna get upset at Xi and we'll have a tariff tweet and boom. I think that, just stocks had gone up for 2 months or 3 months and probably just needed an excuse to sell off. It could be anything. An old tariff tweet is good. The rare earth thing where China slaps export controls on them. I think, the U.S. has stuff the Chinese need. So I don't know how. I think this mostly just the game of just annoying the crap out of the other trading partners and businesses or whatever. And that sent stocks down. But we also, we had a 2-week rally with a 2-week rally in VIX. And it's usually when volatility keeps rallying like that, when the market rallies, it's, looking for a pullback. And then we have this shutdown, where, there's a fairly, I think the biggest problem with the shutdown is, first off, has anybody noticed there's a government shutdown? Government employees that aren't getting their paychecks notice. It's hard to tell who gets them, who's getting them, and who's not. But I think this is I think there's a line in the sand here on healthcare premiums and subsidies, and I think both sides are digging in pretty hard. So, of course, one side wants to continue the extra subsidies for the Affordable Health Care Act, and the other side's like, we don't. What I do notice is neither side is coming up with a solution to lower healthcare costs, which I think everybody can agree has gone up quite precipitously since 2010. If anybody has cheaper healthcare now than they did then, let me know, because I will buy that insurance. There's something. I think there's something to the shutdown and the volatility we have, but outside of that, OpenAI just created another deal with Broadcom. And, what's amazing is all they did was raise $6 billion in their last capital raise of $500 billion market valuation. So, and AVGO is up 9.8% on the news that they'll buy some chips in the future or something like, but they're buying tons from Oracle. They're buying tons from, I guess, NVIDIA, or AMD was the announcement, and now they're buying them from so I guess so. There is still a lot of, the AI is driving the economy right now more than anything else. So, and that is, that kind of growth propels stocks higher. And, I think people should be like a little happier that stocks are very close to an all-time high. For the most part, that's good for, that's good for investors. It's good for retirees. I mean, it's good, right? Stocks going up. I don't know why people get so grumpy about it. So that's all I can say on that score. VIX, though, still 19, almost drop below 19 a little bit. Almost the exact halfway point. But I think we have to kind of get out of this shutdown, the sort of shutdown sadness right now. And I there's something to it. So one way or another, these subsidies are going to disappear for people. And Congress might actually have to do something to try to make healthcare affordable, which I don't think they have succeeded in that task yet. So it would be nice to see him actually do something instead of just put up Twitter sound bites all day, because I feel that's all they're doing right now.
Yes, the OpenAI promiscuity continues. You missed it as you were talking, the Rock Lobster. It just came across the tape. Option Pit now has a deal with OpenAI, so your privately held stock is now up 300%. So congratulations to you. I think I cut a deal with them while you were talking as well. So I think even St. Charles Wealth might have some new AI portfolio, man. It's everyone's
sold.
I was about to say, Longo, you look good as a billionaire. You look happy. I know the producer will be happy with that kind of deal that you made.
Just cutting deals while you're talking here. OpenAI, they're open for business. So why not get a piece of the action? Everybody else is. Why not, listeners, as we keep on rolling? Is that business? Is that translating into a lot of action out there in the market today? The answer is most decidedly yes, listeners. It's another banger out here, so it doesn't need to only be a red day to have VIX put up some numbers today, about 1.05 million contracts changing hands already out there in VIX land. That's against an ADV of about 729, so getting back north of 700K again, and probably will continue moving north after today. But before you get too excited, a good chunk of that, about 330,000 contracts or so, is going up. Looks like a pretty sizable roll. Looks like the ACK NOV 35 roll, they're bailing on the ACK for 29 cents and then rolling out to September for 84 cents. Obviously doing that whole roll for 55 cents, which raises the question, 35's keeping that party alive. You like that? For 84 cents out there, just straight up, we're talking the NOV 35s right now. Are you down for those? Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Or are you just like NOV 35s? What the hell? And actually, it's a tie right now between folks who want to buy them, 37.5%, and NOV 35s. What the hell? also about 37.5%. That just went live a few minutes ago. That will be our fun flash poll of the day. So if you're following us over there at Options and you listen in today, you'll have a chance to play along. Only 25% want to sell them, and I get it given everything we saw last week and last Friday. You may be a little bit gun shy on the hitting the bid in the vol space right now. Makes some sense. That's the hot option out there in VIX land today. And then moving on to SPY. SPY also a banger today. 5.1 million contracts already changing hands. The ADV 8 3/4. Probably going to hit that today as well. The S, similar deal, 2.3 million. The ADV about 4.33 million. So the S maybe not quite as explosive. And the SPY maybe not quite as explosive as VIX, but they also don't have that massive roll going up that accounts for such a large percentage of their volume. Small caps, 800,000 contracts exactly on the tape right now. That's a little under halfway to their ADV of 1.65 million. So kind of interesting there. And then the Qs, 3.05 million against an ADV of about 4.5 million. So on that list, looks like the small caps are really the laggard. They're the only one that's not even halfway to their ADV yet. Kind of a normal day, apparently, in small caps out there. Nothing to see out there in IWM, which is up only 2.5% today, listeners. Why would you pay attention to small caps on a day when they're up 2.5%? Man, that's some action out there. As we keep on rolling, is there a lot of action in the single name equity options? Friday there was. Friday was certainly a banger out there. So you might be forgiven for expecting, a return to that level of activity out there, listeners. And the answer today, unfortunately, is it's not really a banger. 320,000 contracts is all that it cost you to break into the top 10 today. It's certainly above our boredom threshold of 250, but it's not even at our kind of things are getting interesting, things are getting a little spicy threshold of 350, let alone well below, I should say, our threshold of 450 for a certified banger out there, listeners. So not exactly a banger out there. 320 on the tape. That gets us to our old pal, the Monster, a.k.a. MicroStrategy, a.k.a. Strategy, whatever the hell they're calling themselves now. Putting up 320,000 contracts. Gaining back a little bit of what it lost. Up nearly 4 handles, or about 1.25%. Trading right around 308 3/4 out there right now for the number 10 spot. Number 9. This is kind of an interesting one. Beyond. Beyond Meat. 356,000 contracts for the number 9 spot. This one having a rough day. They're trading about $1 off nearly $1. So they have been cut literally in half today, listener. Looks like a massive debt holder just diluted a bunch of stock, and that's never a good deal for them. And looks like we're seeing a bunch of conversion reversals, easy for me to say, conversion reversals going up in the stock today as well, which is driving a lot of that flow out there. Either way, Beyond Meat, they might be beyond business pretty soon at this point if this continues. Just kind of a rough one. I don't know anyone out there I like some of the alternative stuff. I don't know anyone who really likes a lot of the Beyond stuff. It seems like of the two, Impossible, if you're into Impossible, seems to get more of the love. But even then, that whole sector has kind of cooled a little bit. Either way, number 9, it's Beyond. Number 8, it's Palantir, going back to the green, 176 3/4, up about $1.25, or about 0.75% today. So relatively quiet day right now, at least all things considered. If you expand that, the range was almost $6, about $5.80. So that's a little bit more what we expect from Palantir. Either way, Palantir today coming in at number 8, 405,000 contracts on the tape. Number 7, the Rock Lobster's favorite, AVGO, the latest to get in bed with OpenAI. You should check your inbox, listeners. Maybe as you're listening to this, maybe you too got in bed with OpenAI as you were doing the show, in which case, congrats to you. Go pop a champagne bottle. Either way, OpenAI, the gift that just keeps giving to the rest of the market. You get a deal, and you get a deal, and you get a deal. Broadcom today, right around 356, up $31.33, or 9 2/3%. So a good day to be the latest to get into bed with OpenAI. I don't know, the rest of them are going to start getting jealous at this point. NVIDIA may start looking askance. AMD, all the rest might say, wait a minute, we were in bed with them first. Either way, number 6, it's the Fruit Company. 490,000 contracts on the tape for them, rallying 3 3/4 today. So a decent day for them out there, listeners. 249, pretty much exactly a good day for them, about 1.5%. So getting back some of their lost luster from Friday. Still below the 250 handle, but climbing steadily out there. For number 6, the fruit company. And number 5, keeping it in A, it's AMD, 216.82. They're green with envy, perhaps, but it looks good on their stock tape. They're up $2, or about 1% today. Right around 217 is where they're hanging out right now. AMD, number 5, 527 on the tape. Number 4, man, it's an A tech strip. I haven't had one of these in a little while. It's the Amazonians, number 4. Popping hard today, trading 220, up $3.60, or about 1 2/3%. Did they get in bed with OpenAI as well? Looks like it's just more it's the annual. They're going to hire a bunch of people during the holiday season stuff. But outside of that, more buyers and sellers. Kid, number 4, Amazonians, 546. Also shows you what a light day it is. We're all the way up at number 4 in our top 10 when we're barely north of 500,000 contracts. There are days when we're almost there at number 10. So kind of a light day. Number 3, Intel, $37, up about 3/4 or about 2%. So they're getting back some of their lost luster as well. Even though Bank of America says they've climbed too far too fast. Doesn't seem to be weighing on the stock out there today. It's Intel, number 3, 623 on the tape. Number 2, it's Tesla, 428.18, rallying another nearly $15, about 14 3/4, about 3.5%. So this one's been on a wild tear of late. Talking on the hot options report, we've been talking 420s, 430s, 440s, 4.5s, 430 puts going the other way. It's been a wild time out there in Tesla. Number 2 today, 1.01 million contracts. Will they make it on the hot options report today? I think they probably will. As we keep on rolling to number 1, it's NVIDIA, putting up not even 1.5 million contracts, 1.46 million contracts. So kind of light for NVIDIA. 188.38 is where they're hanging out right now, about 5.25 to the upside, or nearly 3%. So getting back pretty much everything they lost on Friday out there. So a good little rally back here for NVIDIA out there, listeners. And you know what? If you've been waiting for some actual numbers and data to sink your teeth into, rather than nonsense sell off on a tweet, rally on a tweet kind of nonsense we've been doing of late, well then you're in luck, because earnings season proper is coming back. Maybe one of the last ones we'll get for a little bit if this plan to move earnings season to semi-annually goes through. But right now we can all enjoy a little bit of earnings fun. They had you got BlackRock, you got Citi, you got some proper financial names popping off before the bell tomorrow. Goldman. So we're back at it, listeners. We're back on the docket this week, so it should be kind of fun. Stay tuned to the website, theoptionsinsider.com. Click on the Options News and Articles tab. You can see all the fun stuff we've got lined up for you this season. A lot of data coming at you here, listeners. We've got Abbott Labs on Wednesday, Morgan Stanley, good old Chucky Schwab, and IB on Thursday. So you get your double dose of options brokers out there. Friday, Ally, they're no longer in the options game. They don't care about your options dollar, as well as Fifth Third and Amex and all sorts of fun. We'll have all the data for you once the season pops off. And it is refreshing to have some actual data out there. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a taste right now. We got Citi before the bell tomorrow. They were trading right around $94 when we ran this report. They were pricing in $4.25. In the past, they moved about $3.50. So fully 75 cents more juice piled on top. Is that worth it? I don't know. JP Morgan popping off tomorrow before the bell as well. They were right around $3.01, pricing in about $12. And in the past, they've moved $8.84. So a fair amount of extra juice in JP Morgan as well. Let's do Wells Fargo. Let's do a trifecta. They're also tomorrow. 77.62 is where the stock was. They're pricing in $3.46. In the past, they've moved $2.67. So sounds like, at least for right now, the major financials have all gotten the memo that more vol is on the docket right now in earnings season. I lie, we'll do one more. Bank of America, 15th before the bell. 48.65 is where they were trading as of this report. They were pricing in $2.10. In the past, they've moved $1.26. So Bank of America, bringing the juice. They're all bringing the juice. I guess they've been paying attention to our earnings move reports lately, listeners, which the argument has been just to buy vol out there because it's been kind of wild. Is this going to be another season like that? Well, I guess you got to stay tuned to the website to find out as we keep on rolling into the Odd Block.
It's time to break down the most interesting, unusual, and downright questionable options activity that's been identified by theoptionsinsider.com. It's time for the Odd Block.
right, everybody, let's do our dance. By the way, a little public service message at the start of the show here. Our buddy the Flowmaster was all excited about the new redesign coming to the SIBO.com website starting today. He was a little less excited when he saw that Trade Alert was no longer really accessible through that redesign. So if you go into your SIBO.com/Trade Alert or just TradeAlert.com, it is redirecting you to a kind of a SIBO solutions page. If you want to log in, listeners, a little pro tip for all of you out there listening. You have to scroll down past the fold, which again, not ideal. And then you'll see little links there at the bottom middle of the page. It says see more for individuals and institutions. Click on those depending if you're listening on the individual side or, of course, institutions. And that will get you to your Trade Alert login page. So I know he was doing a little bit of scrambling today out there. So you're not out of luck if you're a Trade Alert user. You just have to jump through a few more hoops. Gotta love these massive, expensive redesigns that end up breaking everything. That's always the fun. Speaking of broken things, we were just talking about this. This is Beyond Meat. I wanted to kind of come back to this really quickly. A lot of the flow seems like it's conversion reversals, so maybe it's not the most exciting, but it's kind of just a good opportunity to sink our teeth, pun intended, into Beyond Meat because, man, what a dumpster fire. Cut in half today. And if you look at the year, listeners, it's been an atrocity. Off 84% year to date, or about $5.60. So it's been pretty much straight down. They've had a few moments. I think they rallied back in July. They got up to about 4.25 back in July. So they had a brief moment in the sun, and then that was it. And ever since then, they've been getting cut in half, and now cut in half again. And that's just usually a tale of woe out here, listeners. Those debt holders, they can wreak havoc out there, listeners. And so what do we spot out here? A whole bunch of one calls going up pretty much. It's the one conversion reversal. As of the start of the show, over 66,000 of these bad boys had gone up out there today. Now, there's other paper out there as well, but it's first off, your strike choice is very limited. So that's pretty much what you're getting. There could be some straight up buyers out there as well. There's almost a 10,000 lot of these one calls going up for 16 cents. It's not all conversion reversal paper. It looks like more of the one calls have traded than the one puts. So some folks could be using this opportunity to scoop. You like those, listeners? One calls for 16 cents? I mean, you're not getting much time at this point. If you're buying those, you're really hoping for a wolf speed level rise from the ashes out there without the commensurate dilution out there, which they saw in wolf speed. Just absolutely wild stuff. I kind of wanted to just bring this up, Mr. Rock Lobster, because it's a good opportunity to talk about good old Beyond Meat. Are you a fan of Beyond? And what are your thoughts on this just absolute dumpster fire in the stock? And it seems like there is at least a bit of a bias to the calls here in terms of numbers and ratio. So maybe some folks are rolling the bones on the one calls for 16 cents, sir. You love those?
Beyond Meat. This is like my this kind of fruit freaks me out anyway. But could we see a little squeeze? I think this stock, it could have believers, I guess. It could have believers. It kind of reminds me of Oatly at this point, where it was.
Don't you bring up my pain, sir.
I still have my Oatly shares.
Oh yeah, I still have some too. Who doesn't? Who doesn't have a little Oatly in the back pocket?
Who doesn't have a little Oatly? It is cheap enough to have a shot, although this is, but I feel like this is a stock that has the $1 pin written all over it, sadly.
Yeah, I definitely am not loading up on the ones for 16 cents in October. If you're going to take the flyer at this point, the stock is the option. You're getting the permanent call for $1. Why pay 16% for, you're not exactly getting a ton of time. You're getting pretty much a week. Is that worth 16 cents? You need that.
Bold. It's bold.
You need that rebound to come in a hurry. We've seen it happen. It can happen, but you're definitely rolling the bones. So there you go, listeners. If you are inclined to roll the bones on Beyond, maybe 16 cents for the ones with only a few days to go is your huckleberry as we keep on rolling out to a name. I'm sure we've talked about this before, but it's been quite some time. This is Yelp. $33 and a third, up about $3 today, or about 10%. So a good day for Yelp. Looks like they got an upgrade out there, apparently. So there we go. Or at the very least, more buyers than sellers. So a good day for them. On the year, it's kind of been a bit of a tricky one for Yelp. They were about 34.5 a year ago, so they're almost unched. They're off about $1 and change, about $1.15 on the year, about a little over 3%. So they're net down, but it's kind of been a topsy-turvy year. They rallied all the way up to about $41 and change, 41 and 3/4 in January. Then they sold off to about $33 in March. In April, they hit 32.5. Actually, no, 32.5. And then they rallied again May, back up to about $41 again. That seems like their magic level. And then they just fell out of bed. By June, they were $33, fell off a cliff to their low, looks like for the year, on August 11th of about $29.96. So they broke the 30 handle. They've been vacillating around it ever since. They threatened it today, but not quite. They got down to 31.68 before rallying again. So kind of a weird, topsy-turvy year for Yelp. When's the last time you thought about Yelp from a trading capacity, listeners? Obviously, you're looking for restaurant reviews all the time, but are you trading Yelp? Well, somebody is today. Somebody came in this morning and said, Nove 32s, how are they? They got a fairly juicy market. They got $1.90 at stock was higher then. The stock was lower then, but still, these were still in the money. They were $32.50 pretty much. So they were pretty much 50 cents in the money. So you can kind of take 50 cents off that price. So that seems a little rich to you listeners. There are earnings. There are earnings on November 6th. So you get them in the lifespan of this option. So maybe that makes that a little bit more palatable to you listeners. And right now, I mean, they're looking pretty good. They're passing the Rock Lobster sniff test. The stock has rallied nearly $1 since then, about 85 cents. So these Nove 32s are looking pretty good, Mr. Rock Lobster. I won't insult you by asking you if you like these because they're already 85 cents to the good in the stock. So they passed your sniff test. What are your thoughts in general about Yelp and maybe some near-term upside, sir?
Let's see here. You know what's funny? Like Yelp reminds me of Palantir. Like not Palantir, Pinterest.
I was going to say Palantir. I don't think it's quite that wild.
Yeah. No, sorry, I got my P words mixed up. But it is a profitable internet social media type company. Yet it just doesn't. It has like no multiple. Yelp is this like I didn't know Yelp was actually a profitable company, and they've been making they got $4 and get like it's like a real company. They trade basically at revenue, and I guess the market for Yelp just is not how many people are going to be on Yelp, I guess, whatever. So
they're waiting to sign their deal with OpenAI. They are next.
I you know what? I think that's really what's holding them back, quite honestly. I don't think these are bad calls. Let's see. Do you pick up the earnings? You do pick up the earnings with them. And is it making the first day sniff test? We're trading.
Oh yeah, they're crushing it.
Oh yeah. All right. So, yeah, I think they're pretty reasonable. I own a lot of Pinterest. I don't own any Yelp.
Might have to start sniffing around some Yelp, sir.
Again, I think it's like, okay, it's a social media, very inexpensive property. And they seem to they keep staying, like Pinterest. They're not really, feels like they have users. And so anyway, I know we got to have Tosaw's got to come on because the blessed silver collar's coming. But I don't think these are that bad. And it looks like a value stock to me. Hard to say a social media stock is a value stock.
Yeah, comparatively, you're right.
They are around. Like if you look, there's a lot of companies that trade at relatively low multiples that have growing revenue. Revenue's growing the same as Apple's for a fraction of the cost.
I need AI driving my restaurant reservation. So before I even open my app, it already made it. So I know what you wanted tonight. You want a Lithuanian food. I made you the reservation for this place at 8:30, and you look at it and say, okay, I guess I'm having Lithuanian food.
You need that neural link for that.
The robot decides what you're eating, Mr. Rockwell.
Yes.
There we go. And you know what? Mr. Uncle Mike decides what we're talking about next because it is time for the strategy block.
It's time to dispense options, wit, wisdom, and education. It's time for the strategy block.
All right, Mr. Uncle Mike, the floor is yours. Regale us with tales of daring do and shining silver, sir. Oh, if he's muted, he loses a point. He loses the point that he gained today. He lost his point.
I gained a point for that.
He lost
I actually
his point.
gained points for it.
He gave it all back. After all that hard work, listeners, he gives back his point.
Easy come.
How
easy.
Embarrassing for you, sir.
Hey, that's not very fair, guys. Just because I muted. Come on now. Where do you get these bullying tactics
What
from?
an idea. Where would we get such an idea from?
Okay, so let's rewind back to expiration in January. And roughly the third week of January, silver's trading at roughly 28. And so in the boring section of the portfolio, I don't just put people in bonds. I put them in a variety of things. Collars is one of them. And so with silver being around $28 per share, looking at SLV, of course, we have the ability to go 1 year out with a collar to buy the 24 put 1 year out and then sell the 39 call. And so with that, we have $4 of potential risk in silver. Of course, if silver goes to zero, then we have the right to sell it at 24. And we have 39 as our covered call. So that means that we have the potential for roughly $11 of upside and $4 of downside. For the boring section of the portfolio, I think that's very exciting personally. So as everyone has been watching silver this year, excuse me, of course, we went well past the 39 level. And for the boring section of the portfolio, I'm okay with that because of the fact that, and we have other silver things with which we're doing, but this is just for the bond replacement, if you will, or the boring section. Silver went past 39. And my thought is that, okay, well, that's fine. I'm just going to sit on this because we still do have a few months left until January. And my clients in the boring section of the portfolio are going to have to settle for a 40% gain on the year. Boo-hoo, cry me a river. I had everything all planned out for exactly what I was going to say if a client complains about me not rolling up or doing something like that at the 39 level. However, there was a very interesting opportunity that I jumped on last week. And what was interesting about it is that with silver in the mid 40s, I was able to close out the covered call portion of this trade, meaning I sold the shares of SLV and I bought to cover the 39 call. And by doing that, I got a net credit of $38.72. So that means that just that part of it, what I was able to do is I was able to lock in all of my profit on that part of it. However, I gave up 28 cents in potential profit had I wanted to hold on until January. This is why I did it. What was very interesting to me with this trade was the fact that the puts for January for SLV were trading at a higher level, a much higher level. So what I did was, as soon as I got out of that covered call, I immediately sold the 39 puts for January on silver. If the break-even point for what I would have needed to sell them for to make it the same trade as it was, if you will, would have been 28 cents, because that's how much premium I lost out on by getting out of the covered call. However, the silver 39 calls for January were not trading at 28 cents. They were trading at $1.01. So essentially, what I was able to do as soon as I sold that put, I still had the 24 put on as my hedge. I sold the 39 put, and that created a put spread, similar, a synthetic collar, if you will. And I got paid by doing all of this 73 cents for taking on the exact same risk reward. And if life couldn't have gotten any better, what I now have from 24 to 0 the buying power was taken up, because let's just assume it's all in IRAs. I have a couple of them that aren't in IRAs, but most of these are in IRAs. So I had to have the maintenance requirement from 24 to 0. Now I don't, because it's a bull put spread. So now I have the ability to buy some type of money market for those $24. So essentially, because of the fact that demand for puts on SLV in this instance is greater than demand for calls, what I was able to do was get an extra 3% created out of thin air for taking on no greater risk and simply selling the covered call position, and closing the covered call position and opening a short put position. That's excitement. That's what I was hoping to deliver, things like that, for years with my silver collar. It never materialized until today, Columbus Day 2025. I finally was able to give some pretty exciting material to my silver collar adventures.
It's a Columbus Day gift for all of us listeners as we keep on rolling into Around the Block.
It's time to tell you what we'll be watching on our trading screens until the next episode. It's time for Around the Block.
All right, everybody, as we're coming into the end of the show here, markets are pretty close to where they were at the start of the show. Maybe the sell-off, or the rally, I should say, mitigating slightly. Dow up about 1.25%, S&P up about 1.5%, NASDAQ up about 2.1%, and the VIX cash still vacillating around, getting a little bit firmer, up to about 1940. It was around 1915 to 19.25 at the start of the show. So rally, I keep saying sell-off. A rally mitigating somewhat, but not a bunch out there. Maybe just a pause before the next leg up. That said, Mr. Rock Lobster, we'll start with you, sir. What are you keeping an eye on for the rest of the week?
Well, I guess it's not an eye out. You got to listen for the tweets. What's the next tweet?
Yeah, that's true. We've been joking we're in a tweet-by-tweet market, but now it is literally true.
Also, for listeners, I think 35 days is the shutdown record held by none other than Donald Trump. So, in Trumpian fashion, will he go longer? I think he can. And we're going to have a standoff on this Affordable Care Act stuff. Where that takes stocks, I don't know. Maybe Congress can solve it in the meantime, but I doubt they will, since they don't really solve problems. However, OpenAI is just going to do a deal with the U.S. government, and that should solve all their debt problems. So there you go. I think that's what I'm looking at, because there's no government numbers. There's no more statistics coming out. So we're just waiting for earnings. What are we today's? So don't the big bank earnings start rolling out here pretty soon?
Tomorrow, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think that will, if they're even remotely decent, generally stocks rise on good bank earnings and stocks tank on bad bank earnings. So that will give you the clue going forward, I do believe.
And where should folks go if they want you to flash them in a dark alley?
Oh, yes. I'll be flashing them tomorrow. Go to the Option Pit website and sign up for my Flash 7.
I can get flashed 7 times?
Yes, you get flashed 7 times.
Wow. Cutting it right down the middle.
Yes, also we'll revealing a couple of little secrets there that are quite interesting. For people that like to invest and trade, you might find these things interesting. OptionPit.com.
There you go. Get flashed 7 times now, a new number in a dark alley of your choosing. OptionPit.com.
Yes.
The place to go to learn more. And Mr. Uncle Mike, sir, same question for you. What are you keeping an eye on for the rest of the week? And then also, where should folks go if they want more Uncle Mike goodness in their lives? Maybe they want to do some silver collars of their own.
It's excitement, I tell you. Just continuing to watch the news. That's what we have to. That's all we have at this point. It's very much a headline-driven or tweet-driven market. In terms of where you want to go to see some more Uncle Mike in your life, go to my YouTube channel. There's no new content yet, but if I keep saying it, it means I'm going to do it. Probably within the next week or so, we're going to have some content out aiming at talking about how to hedge single stock positions that have overtaken your portfolio. So if you had NVIDIA originally at a 5% holding and now it's a 40% holding because it's gone up so ridiculously much, we're going to address that in an upcoming video.
There you go. Keep an eye on Uncle Mike. StCharlesWealth.com is the place to go. At Mike Tosaw on Twitter. Give them a look-see over there on the old YouTubes as well. And, of course, check out our friends over there at Tasty Trade while you're checking things out. tastytrade.com/podcast. See what they have up their sleeves for you folks, the cool listeners of the Options Insider Radio Network. Always fun to get a deal on some brokerage front. tastytrade.com/podcasts. We got to get on out of here. Back again later today. Obviously, it's a holiday, so our schedule a little bit in flux today, but we will be back after the closing bell to break down all of this madness on the Hot Options Report. We'll see you back here for that. Then, of course, back again tomorrow for the newest, well, not really the newest anymore because Thor has usurped it, but the second newest addition to the network, a.k.a. the European Market Brief. Check it out if you are intrigued by these markets across the pond. And then we're back again with our usual array of content after that till we're back again on Thursday, Flowmaster in hand. Another episode of the Option Block. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.